So welcome. I have to do another live. I have to. You probably won't hear from me this weekend. I'll tell you that. Anyway, this is going to be about the movie Braveheart. And we're going to be talking about Braveheart and Rob Roy. And my beloved buddy sent me a very precious copy of Rob Roy, Walter Scott. Okay, let's talk about Marcus Aubrey. Again, so I'm gardening and I'm listening to this Carrie Hutton on YouTube. Carrie Hutton on YouTube. Again, I was talking about Gen Xers, right? I was saying how this is really impacting them, okay? Now I'm going to paraphrase what she said, and then we're going to go into Braveheart, and we're going to talk about how narcissists can take something and completely destroy the essence of the story, and how these events can fuck people up. So this Katie was talking about how watching the interview blew her mind, in that she suddenly started because she's young, second guessing her idea of monogamy. This is what's happening with a lot of young people right now. They're looking at this guy. First of all, there's the feminine rage that is going to say, how dare you look at Marcus Aubrey as a archetypal masculine to look up to actually emulate, right? And this dream of wanting to continue the dream of monogamy is being beaten up like fucking crazy. So the twin flame dynamic is being beaten up in our society for the last year. It actually started with 2023 with Twin Flame Universe, and people are still paying money for these motherfuckers, but that's another show. And we have the understanding that the archetype of the sacred template of divine sacred love union through Mary Magdalene and Yeshua was completely fucking buried alive, okay? And I've discussed it in multiple lives, which are on my YouTube channel. You can check it out. And I can see now how something as pure as Braveheart, and this Marcus, I'm going to just call him Marcus, okay? Aubrey, that little boy with a big ass ego. That little boy is talking about Braveheart, and he was talking about purity in front of Vilana, okay, his wife. And he talked about how protecting purity is going to make you raise the sword. And then he choked up, which I almost spit my tea. I was like, you motherfucker. Anyway, the reason I'm doing these lives is because I really want you guys to have these. You don't have to share my lives. You actually don't. I want you to get as much information as you think you need, and I really would like it if you guys went out and started talking, because this is really bad. What's happening is really bad. In 2023, we started the beginnings of the fuckery on the twin flame journey with, like I said, a lot of back talking, saying it was psychosis, saying that we were codependent. I've covered all those bases, by the way, but I will add, twin flames, twin rays are the most hyper independent people you'll ever meet, okay? Because of the separations that go on and on and on. And any twin flame will agree with me. You become, once you go through the dark night of the soul and you survive yourself, and I'm not joking when I say that, quite literally, you are fucking dependent. You're a badass. That's it. You're like, you're channeling some incredible Kali Shakti energy in balance, okay? That's what that said. But I have this image of Braveheart, of William Wallace and Moran. And I'm going to explain something to you, because a lot of people don't know this. I know you saw the movie, but did you see the movie? And it's important. In it, he's marrying Moran in secret, because there's a thing called the droit du seigneur. You'll understand in a minute why I'm bringing this up. I've brought it up in many lives, but now I need to break it down, like in massive ways. I brought it up here and there. And so he knows the droit du seigneur. I keep mentioning it because it's very important for you guys to understand the droit du seigneur. Because when we talk about lineage healing, we're talking about, if you are European blooded, if you have mostly European blood in you, that shit impacted your root chakra generations back. We're talking about down to the dark ages. If you were peasantry and you were getting married to your bridegroom, if you were a woman, your little butt was going to go into the Lord's bed. It was called serfdom. But the droit du seigneur meant It means the right of the Lord. The right of the Lord, okay? Le droit du Seigneur. Where you got married, and the first night, if you were a virgin, the first night in bed being deflowered, let's use that word, was with the Lord. That means that if you were ovulating, my friend, you were going to have that person's child. That means that your husband would have to look at this child and always remember that the first taste of you was not, was with someone else. Okay? And this occurred so much that it created a massive root chakra fracture. Okay? Sexuality has always been used as a weapon against us as a people. Okay? It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, by the way, on the side note. They're telling me to talk about Lawrence of Arabia, who also was essayed, okay, in his trips, and how it fucked him up. It would fuck up anyone. So let's go back to that. So Marcus, Aubrey Marcus, talks about the purity, to protect the purity. Now, one of the classic things he did that narcissists do is he triangulated these two women. And both of these women have massive fears of being cheated on. And so they think that this is the way. But this is an Abrahamic way, just to give you a hint. It's an old 3,000-year-old process of polygyny. And I talked about it in length on the other. But when William Wallace marries Moran, right? And the first time they make love is in the woods, in the forest. And they're secretly married. They can't actually expose the marriage at all, because it could mean that she will be brought to the Lord's bed. It's not a joke. You know what happens to her afterwards. She's violently, barbarically murdered. And it's not that he is, and this is something Aubrey Marcus was talking about, saving purity because she died, that the rage of her death created a William Wallace. William Wallace was already seeing the imbalance after having returned from his trips in Europe. Okay, if you recall, he was gone. He had the lost years, if you will. And he returns to see play by play what's going on. He's trying not to be in a war. He doesn't want to have a war. But when he loses his beloved, he realizes that, I've got to save my people. If not for me, I don't want any other man to ever go through what I've just gone through. I don't want any other man. See that? I don't want any woman to go through what my beloved went through. This is where people like Aubrey lose the fucking plot. What happens is William Wallace has nothing else to lose. And now he realizes it is my duty to raise armies to stop this from ever happening to any other human being. He's not saving purity. His heart is filled with compassion. And he says, if I can't be with my beloved, if that is not my fate, then let me make sure that anybody has a chance to be with their beloved in peace. It has nothing to do with saving purity. And the word salad of some of these gurs, these G-U-R, because they don't deserve the U at the end of guru. Okay, I'm sorry. Is very beautiful to watch them collapse in front of your very eyes. But the problem I'm having, and my concern, okay, is that this young girl's talking about, and there are a lot of people talking about it, and especially young women are going, maybe I should go into polyamory. And some of them are actually saying things like, I'm fighting myself. I'm going through a massive like I'm going through a deep depression. That's how influential some of these people are. These people we put on a pedestal like Aubrey. And to see a woman collapse, his wife, Ilana, and she doesn't have the strength to choose herself. Do you know how many women I've met who've actually left the love of their lives? I've met so many women who've literally said, you know what, you're fucking up so bad, I gotta go. And it is an incredible, power to say, I will not tolerate your bullshit. I won't tolerate you with your polyamorous ideas. I won't tolerate your cheating. I won't tolerate your addictions. No, I'm not. I'm out. Get your shit together. My doors are always open. If I'm still available, great. If not, I guess we'll do this on the flip side of the moon in another incarnation, wherever that lands us. And that takes a massive power. But ultimately, what I'm watching in this incredible diabolical play, and I said it already, I was talking to one of my clients today about it, and we both realize it's a psyop move. It's a divide and conquer. The gender war is not something that just came out of whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it was to deconstruct our ability to unify. They know how powerful sex magic is. They know it. But trust me, okay? And what they're trying to do is to make sure that you lose hope, and that we have, out of 8 billion people, right? Unless you're married, right? And even marriages can turn into celibate marriages. That's another show. But let's say out of 8 billion people, 5 billion are celibate and fucking angry at the opposite gender. I'm not joking. It looks to me like that's what they want. They want a lower population. They don't want you to have kids. They don't. And they know that the people who don't have a half a brain to rub together will continue to have kids. That means that they have a class system of servitudes. It'll be reframed in that way. And meanwhile, all the druids and druidesses, I'm saying that as a metaphor, but not really, all the high priests and priestesses who have been hurt by watching their heroes collapse under the energy of falsehood, right? False prophets, they'd say, beware of false prophets, and it's not a joke, are going to collapse within themselves and decide to abstain from the game. Completely abstain. And I'm putting you guys on notice, you masculines. If you're a divine masculine, your job is to start talking about the fuckery of these types of men. It is your job to talk about it, to talk about what it is to be a divine masculine in action, and to have 2 bitches on the payroll, let's be honest, and to decide that you're going to procreate, have babies with them as soon as possible, to tie them down. That is a classic ghetto move. I'm sorry, that's ghetto, okay? You're politically incorrect. No, I'm fucking telling you like it is. Elon Musk is ghetto too, by the way, on the side note. It's not about money. It's about consciousness in your mind. It's not about money. And we are seeing things that should be straight up. There are, in life, everything's gray. There are nuances of gray. Nothing's black and white. But some things are black and white. Good. And is it good to take someone's life? No. That's a black and white fucking question. Yes or no? No is the answer. No, it's not good to do that to someone. Is it good to manipulate someone until they lose their mind and self-harm? No, that's bad. Isn't that? I think we can all agree on some black and white things, but some things are very nuanced. And because we are becoming, I hate to say it, more intelligent in some aspects, more educated in some aspects, we are being confused. If you are a young person, you're going to be confused. And as a woman, you might actually decide to be the second wife, the third wife. It's something that echoes back to some of the patriarchal system of polygyny that we had in the ancient world for survival. I did a whole breakdown of that 2 days ago on YouTube. And we're playing that shit out again. And it's actually dangerous what's happening. It's actually dangerous to the psyche of the divine feminine. Because what happens when a woman doesn't choose herself, when a divine masculine doesn't choose her as his only partner, when he decides to spread his seed all over the place, it's like a fucking garden hose that's been left, on, and it's spewing shit everywhere, right? I'm not kidding. That's the vision I just got. The problem is that the kind of souls attracted to those kinds of couples, or rather polyamorous couples that are totally have no real compass, spiritual compass and discipline and honor for the Shakti Shiva energy, for example, the souls attracted to that aren't going to be high frequency souls. I'll tell you that right now. And that's just common sense. It's common fucking sense. Because why? Because frequency is attracted to the same frequency. When you are no longer a frequency to 3D, you don't have to worry, my friend. You won't be coming back. You won't. Because you will not be a match. It's very simple. It's like you used to be able to wear a size 5, shoe, right? When you were like, I don't know, 12, 13. And now you as a man, you're wearing a size 12, 13 shoe. You can't fit that shoe anymore. It's a masculine Cinderella moment, right? You're going, I outgrew that size of a shoe. When you outgrow a frequency density, you outgrow it. Can you revert back? Can you, yeah, of course you can revert back, but most likely you're less likely to revert back, okay? Because you will be so in joy and so free in a system that is much more in the realm of your frequency match that you'll do what you need to do. You'll look at your shadows that might pop up and you'll handle it with compassion and clarity, right? Now, let me bring up again one other thing. So when you look at William Laws and you look at Moran in The Secret, doing their secret marriage and so forth, they don't have any problem in the relationship. Have you noticed? They never have a problem in the relationship. Rob Roy with his beloved, forgot her name in that movie, in the book. They don't have any problems. You know what's the problem? The 1%. The ruling class. The fuckery of the systems. The infrastructure in place to fuck your piece up. That's it. And so what you need to do is stay with what you know. Trust that beautiful divine love exists and that it can actually have a beautiful life that lasts 27 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50, 60 years. But that we as a people need not to continue playing this 1% game. Because it's a dead-end game. It's a hamster wheel. And it destroys, if not the love, it destroys the physical ability of two divine lovers, beloveds, to successfully play out their life. Like, for example, having children. In Rob Roy, if you watch it again, you see that his wife is SA'd, okay? And they don't know whose kid that's going to be, right? Because they're actively making love. They're lovers, they're husband and wife, and they have 2 sons. And she's going to be pregnant. You'll see that in the movie. And Rob has to accept it. Eventually they'll see who the kid looks like. But that fractures and creates a wounding in our lineages that we've embodied. I've reincarnated as half French, half American. You've reincarnated as Scottish, Irish, and French or Italian, or Vietnamese and French, and so on and so forth, right? We can go on and on in the mixtures and so forth of your lineages. But my point is, that's the point. So when you start healing your understanding of what's impacting you, like, stay true to who you are, stay true to your desires, don't think that what you desire, there isn't a match for you. There is a match. I don't want you to fucking pick a lollipop when you want a fucking banquet, because if you don't choose your dreams, they can't appear, and dreams become goals, and goals become realities. But if you allow Gen Xers and some millennials, to think that this is maybe the way, it's going to fracture more lineages than you can imagine. And many of them will not be a match to 5D. They can't, because there's a sense of, I'm just going to settle. Chakra, and collapses the tower of the other chakras, including third eye. Because at this point now, you're second guessing your visions and your downloads and so forth. You're second guessing, what is being shown to you. And that's very damaging. So when we look up at certain couples, Brianna it's Braveheart. Okay. When you look up you look up to people, right? And this is, and they let you look up to them. They let you. That's a red flag. I'm just going to be right up the. They should be honest enough to tell you that they also are struggling with their shadows. There's not a fucking human being living on the planet right now, I've yet to meet them, who doesn't have shadows, shames, regrets. And it doesn't make you wrong in any way. It just, the difference between you, me, and others is that you and me, hopefully, we can agree that you're looking and working on your darkness, your shadows and your darkness, even blackness, like things that are really fucking triggering you about you that you've never told the soul. You hope no one will ever find out. But the only person that you really need to heal on that is you. You don't have to convince anybody, not me, not anyone. It's none of our business. The business at hand for the ascension is to be fucking radically honest. And that doesn't mean to be self-loathing and start hitting yourself, literally physically hitting yourself or harming yourself in some way. It means say, wow, this is something I need to purge or transmute and transcend, so I'm no longer a match to this darkness within me. And this is something that in a way, I'm kind of glad that Aubrey Marcus put his shit on the table with these two women, because one of the things he did, which is a classical triangulation, is he kept talking about Lana, that's the third party, by the way, young girl, probably 20 years younger than them, 15 to 20 years, of course. Why am I shocked? And talking about her purity. Her purity? I'm sorry, what? What? Why would she entertain being someone's second chick? And if you really look at her, her eyes are blank. There's really nothing going on. And it's funny because I actually pinched the screen and go, wait, hang on. Because I always look at people's eyes. Yeah, window of the soul. It's not a joke. It's true. I looked at her eyes and yeah, I'm judging. And I looked at her eyes and went, holy fuck, there's no one home. Then I looked at his eyes and I go, wow, he's got dark eyes too. And I don't mean dark like color. I mean dark. And then I looked at Vilana, whatever her name is, the wife. She was the only one who had pain in her eyes. Pain. Massive pain. And massive pain like that is no different than self-cutting. When people cut their inside of their thigh, you know what I'm saying. It's no different than bulimia or anorexia. It's no different than softening the edges with a little, you know what. It's dangerous what we're seeing. And the person I'm most concerned with isn't either of the two, Marcus or Lana. I'm concerned with Vilana's. And I'm concerned that she's not being surrounded by sacred, divine, high priestess, feminine powers. She has no fucking Doc Holliday. I know it. Because there's not a woman alive who's a badass chick who would have said to her, oh yeah, just go with that. Because the whole concept for her was, I don't want to let go of my dream of having his children. Let go of that dream immediately, because what you're going to attract is going to be pedestrian souls. Because a real soul doesn't want to be a part of that. A starseed powerful soul will not want to be a part of that at all. And I talked about it at length in my last video live this morning, which you can check it on my YouTube. I talked about that because that's not a joke. It's real. So at this point now, what does it say to you? Well, it's saying to you that there's no such thing as a guru, that many of us should understand the round table concept, which is a great analogy of King Arthur, right? There was always going to be one kind of a quasi-leader, King Arthur in this case. But the round table is about realizing that we're all trying to figure this shit out. Some of us have a little more clarity, maybe, and maybe you would disagree, but it doesn't matter. Some of us are more sure-footed in what we know. How's that? And why do we know? Well, because we have this round table discussions with other magical spirits, souls, who are our friends, acquaintances, and we end up going, oh my God, yes, I had those thoughts too. So it's almost like we're coming up with what I would call objective truths. not psychotic truth, objective truth. And because of that's happening, we need more of those kinds of roundtable discussions, and we need to be more willing to share, to counteract these false prophets, aka gurus, aka guys like him. Because let me tell you something, okay? He's got 650,000 people that follow him on YouTube, and that means that he's got probably 1.2 million people listening to him, not following him, and that means that you got a good 300,000 people who are actually going to go through a massive depression, and then you've got another 200 to 300 that might actually decide to do it. And it would be going against their natural order of things. It's against their nature. Not everybody really wants to be polyamorous, trust me. And it's not about jealousy. And it's not about jealousy. It's about the sacred connection, the balance of the yin and yang between these two sentient beings, exploring this in two separate physical bodies in these incarnations on this planet, other planets, by the way, as well. Are there planets, because I've seen it, by the way, that have polyamorous systems? Yes, but they're not the way we see here, what's being played out here. It's more of, I would say, more like free love. You know, there's a main partner, but you can have other people, but it's not it's not seen that way. And from what I've seen, they're very primitive cultures, just on other planets. I'm not kidding. They're primitive. And there's even systems of polyamory, at least in one realm, and I'll discuss it, where it's a matriarchal system, where it is the woman who has two beloveds, typically brothers. I'm not joking. That's what I saw. You could say, oh, you're full of shit. I could say, okay, but imagine that example. It's still not good. Even if I'm wrong. Let's say I'm completely fucking wrong. It was like a completely corrupted download. I didn't think so, because I had that inner discussion and inner visitation with those people to understand even that was happening in other primitive realms. And it was a primitive realm, that particular one, that wanted to know about God, didn't have a sense of God or the creator, whatever you want to call it, the universe, source, whatever, however you want to name it, right? So they were massively primitive. So it's not about patriarchy in a sense. It's about toxicity and a power that's used for just the sake of power. And it's not good because it puts us in a lack frequency. I keep saying that. And lack means I don't have enough, so I'll just share. And it's okay to share, but sharing to what level? It makes me laugh, actually, because I remember telling my beloved, I don't share my toys. I didn't do it as a kid, and I'm definitely not sharing this toy. And you could say, well, that's really, this, that, and the other. But we had enough separations where that's just how, we had our own lives, our own interests, our own things that were happening during our separations. And together, when we were together, we enjoyed a lot of things together, but also we had our own interests and our own pursuits. It's just that the intimacy aspect, for it to have the potency of Tantra, sustainable Kundalini awakening. People like to say Kundalini awakening. Okay, sustainable, meaning it doesn't go away. Because you can have a Kundalini awakening, and some people will totally say, oh, that's not true. And you can actually lose the plot, meaning your monkey mind takes over, and then you forget what the fuck happened. I'm not joking. The monkey mind is a very destructive mind. And what we're seeing with these people, I forgot the guy's name, the psychologist who's actually really pushing this whole agenda of polygyny, in a way, calling it, what did he call it? Radical monogamous polyamory. And using Braveheart as an example, and me going, they totally missed the plot. They don't understand what the fuck they're watching. They don't understand. I don't know where they're learning this stuff, but they open up the discussion with saying most people cheat. That's not, groundbreaking news. Esther Perel, who wrote, and again, I'm bringing her up again because some of you were not on the live this morning, so I'm going to bring it up again. Esther Perel wrote the book, Mating in Captivity. It's a principal energy exchange. Polyamory wouldn't work for me either. Of course it wouldn't. It's ridiculous. Thank you, Andromeda. And to me, when you look at watch her TED Talk, Esther Perel. She's a Belgium French accent. And I'll never forget, because I sat there thinking, trust me, I had those moments. I've had those moments of trying to figure it all out when I was 18 years old on the concept of how do I attract a man who won't cheat on me? Maybe I should just take a lover and just have a child and not worry about being. I'm not kidding. This shit has really fucked a lot of us up for decades. Okay, maybe I just need to align myself with being a single mother. I was thinking that when I was 17. I wanted children since I was 16, and I have one son. But it is the energy of our realm. In other words, it's not our true nature. If it goes against our nature, it's not our true nature. And for some men, this is a system of polygyny that's in the DNA memory, soul memory of survival. I need heirs. You'll often hear women giving birth to 9 to 15 kids and only like 6 survive or 3 survive. It was not a joke. To keep your woman pregnant every year was to make sure that at least you'd have one that would be your heir. I mean, it was survival of the lineage, the name, who would inherit the property. Fucking Christ, look at Jane Austen's book. If you don't get married, you're fucked. You're fucked. You're going to live on a stipend. Sense and Sensibility, the whole movie starts out, or book, however you see it, starts out with them freaking the fuck out because they're trying to figure out where to play. Where can we rent? Where do we rent? What do we do? We have no money because none of us are married to a man. None of us are sons. So this is ancient, old templates that we have to explode out. And the fact that the pill and the feminist movement, which started with the suffragettes, but goes on to the feminist movement in the 60s and 70s, that was all about free love and choose and Mother Jones and on and on. I could go on and on. Erica Jong's infamous book called Looking for Mr. Goodbar. How does it end? Not well at all. It doesn't end well. But my point to you is that we've done some massive work in the last 75 years. Massive fucking work. So 5D is not far away. Let me just say that. It's not far away at all. If we could have done this much in 75 years while we're working for the man, the 1% MFers, then imagine how we could create communities that basically create a template of organized generosity and freedom for all involved. How far we might actually one day wake up and go, wait, hang on, there's no more channels. Wait, hang on, CNN is gone. What do you mean? It's gone. It's all gone. What? What's going on? Is your cell phone working? No. And realizing suddenly that you telepathically, or however you want to see it, you might say, oh, you're in a la-la land. No, I'm not, because there are other planets that live like that. And we know it because we're starseeds incarnating here. So we know. There are new ways of living. And we have to claim it. And we can't put these men who are, I love that. I just fucking love that. High value men. Why? Because you've got money, dude. That makes you a high, fuck off. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Because these men, okay, are pushing the trend that they have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots, and they do, lots of options, bimbo options. Because a real high-value woman, wouldn't let you touch her with a 10-foot pole. She doesn't give a shit if you have 500 million, much less 1.5 billion. You have a lot of options for bimbos, but you don't have a lot of options for a high priestess, an empress. You don't. She's not going to play your fucking games. What's ironic is if you are a high value man, if you're working on your shadows, if you're monogamous, if you want the Shakti Shiva energy, if you want to have tantric love, if you want to, improve yourself with books and meditations, and, the kind of woman that if you surprise her with tickets to a Joe Dispenza retreat, or maybe a 3-day retreat in a yoga center or whatever, right? Or just camping out in the woods for 3 days by a water, making love in the river, whatever, however. That makes you a high value man. That makes you the man women want. You are the unicorn women are looking for. They don't give a fuck what's in your account. That's the irony. So high value men, the way it's been promoted to us, money, are going to get their pick of Instagram only fan bimbos. Let them have it. If you as a man want a real woman and you keep bemoaning that you're being used, your frequency, watch The Secret. There's a gay guy in The Secret who is constantly being bullied. Doesn't matter where he's working. It doesn't matter what happens to him. He starts thinking that, he's just a victim. And finally he starts changing his consciousness, and suddenly people respect him. He changed the way he saw himself, and the world agreed with him. If you as a man are getting fucked over by bimbos, you're the one creating that reality. I never do that to people. I never want to put the mirror in you because I hate that. But in this case, you attract what you are. You attract what you think you should have. Is it fair? No, it's fucking not. But ask yourself, what the hell are you doing? Running after woe is me girls that, oh my God, my electric bill is, and that you want to help her but not your wife or your girlfriend. Your ego needs to be checked at the door. You need to be needed. I understand the psychology of men. They need to be given a task. They need to be needed. That's one of the, it's not really an issue because they want to be of service to the divine feminine, ultimately. And strong women will open their own fucking door is a problem. We have a problem with that. We'll open the door and keep it open for the guy. And the guy's looking at you going, I wanted to open the door for you. What the fuck? But you gotta, there's some aspect that the divine wounded, broken masculine has to look at himself and go, why? Yeah, hang on. Why am I attracting all these users, women that have used me for money, right? I have a client who's very wealthy. He met this girl once. The next thing he knew was her birthday, right? He said, hey, happy birthday. And she sends him a link, actually. What am I saying? A link to a $1,500 handbag. Buy that for me for my birthday. Make my day. So there are women out there that are really players. They'll play you. We know this. So why are you surprised? You're not going to find your beloved in, rarely in Burning Man. It's going to be a long shot. I mean, you could, don't get me wrong. It can happen, but it's a long shot. So where do you meet your divine feminine? You don't have to go anywhere. Actually, that's the answer. You have to work on your chakras, work on your divine sexuality, your intimacy, work on your shadows, work on your mantras, your meditations, your visualization, your 369. You got to work on that. You got to tell the universe what you want. You got to write it down. You got to think about it, meditate, visualize, use sex magic, and she will appear. You will attract your divine counterpart. She will appear, but you have to do your work. And if what attracts you is shiny bling bling, then that's what you're going to get. If you want a real diamond, if you want a real emerald, a real ruby, she comes to you when you're a match to her. The universe is not going to send you a fantastic woman unless this fantastic woman secretly has a lot of issues in her own self-loathing, secrets about her validity and her ability to keep a man or, attracted to her. I mean, some women come off really fantastic, and then really they have so many things in the closet of their own consciousness that they overgive to a man who doesn't see them, doesn't value them. And what's happening with Marcus Aubrey, when you watch the, I can't even believe they watched this. They must have watched themselves, and they thought it was okay to fucking release it, because what you see, especially with the little doctor over there on the side, who's like word salad, narcissistic, PhD, psychologist, whatever the fuck he is. I've never seen so much bullshit come out of a man. Both of them, on either side of the table, were going back and forth with the word salad of the century. I've never seen such manipulation on in my life. Never, actually. I'm not joking. And the only person who was in pain was the wife. And the minute there is that obvious pain being shown, it's raw. It's actually raw. It's making young Gen Xers lose their fucking shit, females. Because, one, I'm repeating myself, they are terrified that now men are going to say, hey, I can do this. I should try this. Yeah, that's right. I want two chicks on the, I want two women, or three. That is going to make them, feel as if that is a threat now. These wonderful women, young, high priestesses that are like going, oh my God, what the fuck? And the lack of sincerity in that supposed PhD sitting there and not honoring Villana's pain. I would love to see a psychologist, a feminine psychologist, and a high divine masculine psychologist break down that video, that podcast. I would love to see what they have to say to that, because the gaslighting of her pain is fucking unhinged. And she's gaslighting herself, sharing her pain. We have had archetypes of divine masculine and feminine in divine union. And the theme and the problems they always have when things are going well is that the infrastructure around them creates chaos in their lives. Chaos they don't deserve. Chaos they honestly didn't manifest. They're minding their own fucking business. If I could have been in William Wallace's ear, I would have said, William, take your wife and fucking leave the country. Fuck this. Fuck Scotland. Fuck it. Let them figure it out. Go to France. Go back to France. Fuck it. Go to Switzerland. Even better. I mean, really. Get the fuck out of your environment. Figure it out. Go to France. Go back to France. Fuck it. Go to Switzerland. Even better. I mean, really. Get the fuck out of your environment. But there probably wasn't enough money to do that. There was no money. And there was a sense of, well, I'm here now. Let me work on my farm. The opening scene, what is it? I just want peace. I just want to raise sons. I just want peace. Believing that in these diabolical systems of the 1%, the ruling class, that you will ever have peace. And the message from Robin Hood to Rob Roy to Braveheart, am I missing anything? There is no peace. There never is peace. That's the problem we're dealing with as the collective 99%. And we are dangerous to them. And so what do? We start race the fracturing of people of different races, the very thing that makes us absolutely beautiful, Aboriginal people, black people, white people, red people, yellow people, any fucking people makes us beautiful. We've seen the movement of gingers being included in the black community, right? And people getting angry. I mean, fucking dude. I mean, you're angry. What are you angry about? There are people, white people with red hair, okay, with blonde lashes, crying on screen saying, I feel like I belong. And people are losing their shit. Because God forbid there should be a kumbaya going on any level. So don't you see that's massive psyop? It's mental control through social media, through, I'm trying to remember. I remember when I was a kid in the 70s, they would tell you to play record players backwards, and you would hear things like Satan is the God, and it'd be all this. And it would actually, you could actually do that. You could actually hear it. I'm not joking. So that was a big thing in the 70s, is playing records backwards from AC/DC, Alice Cooper. I'm not sure if Rolling Stones were on that scene. I fucking don't know. But music was being used to psyop the mind. This is not a joke, okay? And they've talked about it with rap, by the way. Rap was also. Anyway, so we have to kind of wake the fuck up. This isn't conspiracy bullshit. This is, look at 440 hertz. Look at the hertz of polyester. There is no hertz. It's actually damaging. I love it how we have yoga pants, and good luck in finding yoga in 100% cotton or linen and cotton. A flowy pair of pants. I'm telling you, throw your shit out. If it has polyester, fucking start throwing your shit out. It's fucked up too, because it's going to go into landfills and this and that. But do it. Because your energy needs to be at the highest frequency. Linen sheets, the concept that they were using linens to help heal patients. Use linen sheets. I'm not kidding. Sage your shit and just use linen sheets. Buy cotton. Don't get all into the patterns. Look at the fucking what is it made out of? Cotton? Okay, I'll buy it. Okay, because good luck in finding linen sheets at these discount stores. So go on eBay, find pre-owned sheets. I'm not joking. And if you live in Europe, go to the flea markets. My God, I go to I'm going to be going to so many flea markets to buy pre-owned linen sheets, pre-owned linen tablecloth, things of that. Trust me, I have no problems with that at all. And so make sure that you keep your frequency high. Make sure you're wearing, if you're going to wear crystals, make sure they're real crystals, not Swarovski crystals. Swarovski, I think it's called. Don't buy that crap. Buy a real quartz crystal and put them on your ears with copper or sterling silver, not alloy. If you can't afford sterling silver, which I understand, then I have a lot of earrings with copper. It's pure copper with quartz crystals. And when I wear earrings, that's what I wear. Okay? I have a couple with sterling silver, but just 2 probably, and that's it. Why? Because it's important to keep your frequency around your head, your third eye, your crown, right? Your throat, all in that vicinity, clear of obstructions. Does that make sense? You want to magnify stuff, labradorite, things of that nature. So my point is that everything that's being created now is to make sure that you are cloaked from the higher light beings, from your understanding of who you are, from being true to yourself and walking your path. If you're polyamorous, God bless you. Good. Do that. But make sure it's you that wants it, not some influence and being influenced into realms that aren't you, that cause you at the end of the day pain. And as I said, cheating is boredom. That's it. It's boredom. And can you blame people for being bored? Who the fuck wants to work at these offices? Who the fuck wants to work at? There are offices where there are literally no windows. None. Not a fucking window. One of the jobs I had, I'll never forget, I was like 30 at Bank of America in Glendale. The reason I actually told one of my friends, I said, the reason why I'm still here is we have a window overlooking the San Gabriel Mountains. If it wasn't for that and watching the sunset, I'd be fucking gone. Okay? Don't make yourself do shit you don't want to do. And if you know you don't want to do what you're doing, then start actively creating, architecting through your writings, through your journaling, putting fucking posters on all over your walls of your reality as that's counter to what you're living. Things like, I'm so happy, I earn a blah, 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 blah amount per year, doing what I love. I love doing what I love. And just literally wallpaper your fucking bedroom with these systems of reigniting your true spirit's light and brainwashing yourself out of the brainwashing by brainwashing yourself with fucking things you really want to experience rather than what you're experiencing. I had a client who's very much in love, or, in love, but with a person that's younger than them, masculine is younger than them. They get along like 2 peas in the pod, but the sex went out of the door for a minute, and I'll tell you why. Because he didn't feel worthy of her. He didn't feel worthy of her, and she's a traveling person. She loves to travel. And I said, well, rather than leave each other, why don't you travel together? And I don't know why this obvious, advice was not so obvious, but she actually said, my God, that's a good idea. And yeah, go to places that are like where you find new versions of yourself in other places like Peru. And I always come up with Peru, wherever the hell you want to go, Egypt, Greece, Portugal, however, whatever you want to do. And you go there and you will find new versions of yourself. And you're not there to travel to find America on Swiss soil or America in Greece. You're there to find things that are completely foreign to you. The food is foreign, the language. You're there to find things that are completely foreign to you. The food is foreign, the language is foreign, the wine is foreign. It's all foreign. And in that, you start finding new versions of yourself. And it's exciting. And it will ignite your intimacy with your divine partner. Because cheating is boredom. And instead of cheating, buy some plane tickets to somewhere else. It's really that simple. I'm not joking. Go to Mexico for a fucking week. Make love on the beach, in the ocean. Stay in bed all day. That kind of thing. And, rent horses. Go riding together. Things of that nature. I mean, just shift all of your habits and do a 180 on your, spin your habits out of the fucking way. Just say, that's it. We're not doing this shit anymore. Just change your habits. There was a movie, I'm trying to remember who the actors were, where every morning she'd make breakfast and he'd kiss her on the cheek like woodenly. And I think she met someone who was a younger lover, something like that. And they went into therapy. And they started changing their habits because they had been doing the same thing. He had the same shit for breakfast, the same time he left for work. Everything was the same. For decades, until they were so bored they were like automatic pilots. A great movie to watch is Revolution Road with DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, I believe her name is. And it's one of the most important movies you'll ever watch. Because it's about cowardice. Being a cowardly man. Not having balls. And I'm just going to tell you the story, but I hope to God you watch it. It's about a woman in the 1950s they're the love of each other's lives, there's no doubt. And they're in the suburbs of, I guess, New York, New Jersey, whatever. And her dream is to live in Paris. That's her dream. And he is working for an advertising company, kind of like Mad Men type of deal. And he starts cheating on her with some bimbo in the office because he's not feeling alive, but he doesn't want to be honest about it. But her dream is he made a pact with her. Let's go to Europe. We'll do that. And she has a whole plan. Watch the movie. It's brilliant. And in it is a character, a mathematician, who has, because he's so brilliant, and he probably realizes that the system is a whack job, that he actually has what they call mental health problems. But what it is he doesn't fit into the agenda of that particular structured life in the 1950s. Imagine the 1950s, how fucked up these people were. But anyway, and he goes kind of insane, and he has, shock treatments where he actually can't remember the brilliance of his mathematical mind. Like he's so fragile. He's too fragile for the society of the 1950s. And the character played by Kate Winslet becomes she puts herself on automatic pilot, but she knows she can't do one more fucking year of this bullshit. Watch the movie. The end will have you in fucking tears. In absolute tears. Because when you cut the wings out of someone's dreams, you destroy them. When men have dreams as women, you better make sure that man lives his dream. I'm not joking. When a woman has dreams, you better make sure she makes it happen. I heard the most beautiful story of a man who moved in his girlfriend and created a whole studio, wing. He literally built a wing in his house to create the skylight type of thing with the studio, with the art table. And he clearly he had money, don't get me wrong, but he made sure that in his home, he made sure that she had all the art, and this was her art studio. Okay? And when a man's desires are clipped, he will fall into massive addiction. We are born with a need to follow our purpose, our dreams in these particular incarnations. Imagine, I can't even wrap my head around this one, but I'm sure in one incarnation I was a mathematician. It still blows my mind. Just the idea fucking makes me giggle because I'm like, fuck. Because I so connect with being an artist, right? It makes me laugh. But can you imagine? I might have actually been. Imagine what you could have been. You probably suck at singing, but maybe you were like a well-revered frequency singer on another planet where people were sentient beings adored you. You never know, right? So my point is desire and honoring that one's true desires is very key. It has to happen. Because if you don't, you will lose your soul, and addiction will be the only thing you can tolerate your existence. You'll go into hard shit or whatever shit, anything where you need to escape your reality is hard. It's hard enough. But this is something that we have to understand. So to summarize, the 1%, the infrastructure is the problem. You're not the problem. Cheating is about boredom. You're not living an authentic life. You're not excited by your life. So you have to find excitement outside of your committed relationship. That's quite often the truth. On just your basic pedestrian marriage out there. You know what I mean? And then finally, the 5D is a match to what you believe you deserve. You have to forgive yourself and you have to forgive others. I say this again and again. And the Aubrey Marcuses of the world are frauds. A lot of them are frauds. And people will throw money at them like they are gods. And then they will do one fuck up, a fuckery that's so insane that it will spin people into psychosis. I'm seeing it go down. I'm in shock. I didn't know he had that kind of reach. I don't follow this son of a bitch because I knew he was a piece of shit the first time I set eyes on him. I was like, yeah, he's an idiot. And I'm finding that we are dying for the right masculines to stand up. And Remy of Twin Flame Healing is a very cute man. He's a divine masculine. He's a very sweet man. And his twin left because of her illness and because of probably other things. But I think of the divine masculine who I really looked up to, really, really a lot, was Mel Brand, who was a twin ray, golden twin ray. And you can look him up. Mel Brand put twin ray on YouTube. His videos are still there. He's been dead since 2022. And his divine counterpart, consort, this woman who was like, I don't know, 15, 20 years younger than him, they went strong. This was not about power of the patriarchy. It was about they were in divine union. They still are, I'm sure. Meaning I'm sure she's still communicating with him just like I'm communicating with my divine counterpart, right? But my point to you is that you have to take it for a grain of salt. The interesting thing about Mel Brand and Cassidy of Twin Flame 1111, these people are always quiet about their shit. Have you noticed? Yeah, they're actually creating content, don't get me wrong, but they're quiet. And few people follow them. I'm going to make it like that. It's an elite group that follows these people. And yeah, I'm going to say it like that. Elite. Yeah, because we got brains. We can actually fucking differentiate bullshit from fucking light. And apparently people can't. I didn't realize it until this year. I swear to God. When I went back to Twin Flame Universe just to see what's up, because I hadn't checked their website since 2020. I didn't give a fuck, right? But I looked it up and I went, holy fuck, they're making more money than before. So my question to people is, and it's not to you personally, you listening to me, my dear listeners, it's not an insult to you, but it's to these cult followers. Is there something wrong with the way you process information, that you can't see hustlers, grifters, and malcontents for what they are? Are you so desperate? Are you so desperately lonely that you need somebody like Twin Flame Universe is famous for that, where you want them to pick for you your twin flame, tell you, yeah, that's your twin flame over there. Well, it's a woman, and I'm straight. I don't care. That's your twin flame. Get over it. I mean, that's exactly what they've done, and people are going after them. So the Aubrey Marcus scenario. The only reason why I'm going after him, because of what I'm seeing from the content of these young, impressionable, Gen Xers who it's crushed their world on sacred divine love. They've stopped believing. And some of them will go through psychosis. Some of them will go through massive dark night of the souls, massive. And some may not come out of it. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be, dramatic. I didn't expect that kind of response from people. But the more of us talk about the fact that this is real, divine sacred unions between the yin and the yang is an absolute real reality. There are people living that very quietly in the backwoods of Norway, in London, in Scotland, in Africa, in Asia, parts of Asia, and so forth. People are living this reality in Australia. But they're not fucking banging the drum because they know how dangerous it is to come out of the woodworks. Look at what happens. And then you have the false prophets, right? Like Moji and Osho. I mentioned them again. But most importantly, Marcus, Aubrey Marcus. He's a false prophet. He came into, I looked at more of that podcast because I had to, because I was like, fuck, before I say anything else, let me make sure. And I looked at him, and apparently he's always been polyamorous until he met Villana, and the agreement was, and this is who I am, and let's do this. And so they married 2 weeks after they met. And there was a mistake I think I made. I was under the impression he was on Academy when he went to... No, he really went to Egypt to the Isis temple and got the download. You're going to have children with both these chicks. It's like, you have free will, If somebody says to you, well, this is going to happen, you can say, thank you, no. This is a contract. I don't want to go any further. Like, I can go, I don't want this. And Villana, who is definitely older, she's got to be in her 40s. If she's not in her 40s, he's already damaged her. He's fucking with her because she's a good-looking woman, but the grief is going to etch its mark on her face because of grief. Grief does that. It's not a joke. It doesn't matter how young you are. If you go through a lot of grief, eventually it pulls things down, and it's a sad truth. The somatic body, you might even be hunched over. You might have pains in your back. Pain in your lower back means I'm not being supported by the universe. I feel alone. I feel not supported, not heard. She might develop some somatic pain body. She might even develop where she can't have sex with him anymore, where he closes, her, her yoni can't accept him anymore. And if she pushes her body to go against, in other words, if she denies what her body's telling her, she will develop an illness. It's a matter of time. Apparently, they sleep in the same bed together. Now, where did I hear this before? In the Hare Krishna movement, I had a friend. She's still a friend, but it's a long story. I'm not going to go into it. She's still a friend. But she has a very busy life with a lot of things going on. But she's she's a member of the Krishna movement, and they are allowed to have a second wife or a third if they can afford it. And she was the first wife, and then he ended up getting the second wife. We're talking about Westerners doing this, by the way. And they were in the same bed. Now let your mind roam on that one. Yes, you're correct. So sometimes he would choose one or the other. And I remember her saying, sometimes I would feel so sorry for her because she would have to hear him. Can you imagine? At what point do men realize that they are responsible for the destruction of the sacred feminine? At what point will you take responsibility? Because me, in my past lives as a masculine, I will be the first one to say it. When I was a man, I did not take responsibility to protect the divine feminine. I did not. I failed all of the divine feminines I was with. I'm sure one or two I might have honored, but I can't, but I can vouch for the fact that quite often I did not protect the divine feminines who placed their trust in my care when I was a man. You're a man now. Can you admit to that? So I am responsible for what's happened for the thousands, all these incarnations I've had for thousands of years. And I'm here to right the wrong. That's part of my karmic path, is to talk about it, to try to make people understand. And so we as divine feminines who have gone through this, who look at your shadows, are you responsible or are you going to deny it? Oh, I when I was a man, I was always a good man. Really? You think so? So I put it to you very bluntly, my divine masculine brother. What are you going to do about it? Because I know I'm doing my part. I'm righting the wrongs in this body now that I incarnated in as a feminine. What are you going to do about it? Because you've been very quiet for a long time. You've been way too quiet. You're in the shadows. You're licking your wounds. You're saying nothing. I'm not saying that all of you need to have platforms, but I am saying that you need to call out your brothers in the locker rooms, in the restaurants, in the streets, in the football stadiums, in the pool hall tables, at poker games. You got to say something. You need to start making these men uncomfortable. And that's where I'm coming from. And as long as you all believe that boys will be boys, that's right, boys, key word here, boys will be boys. And we have to grow them into men, divine, sacred masculines. And it doesn't just happen. If I want tomatoes to harvest, I have to plant the seeds. I have to water, fertilize for 60, 80 days before I will have the first tomato to harvest. There's nothing different. Sacred divine masculines don't just fucking appear. They're made, just like divine feminines are made. And so when you look at Aubrey Marcus, watch his podcast. He's going to get a shitload of YouTube money. Good for him. Fuck him. But hopefully it'll be money that if any one of you know Villana or know of her, try to see if she can get herself in front of a Doc Holliday, a divine feminine who's a badass. She needs a woman to step in. Or she needs a fucking amazing man to go, that doctor that you guys are all looking up at, like, yeah, he's a fraud. And then deconstruct that argument. Brick by brick. Brick by brick. But someone's going to have to do something, because the harm I'm seeing is pretty amazing. And it was the only one who I saw pain in. No one else had pain. No one. So anyway, I hope this helped. Again, this will be on YouTube. Thanks again for your time. If anyone has any questions before I leave, good live. I'm going to say good night. Good night. Namaste. Be well. Does anybody have anything to share or say before I let you go? Let's see if there's any other. All right. Much love. I'll talk to you soon. Namaste. Be well.